I commit to the bit. Do you know what I love about weddings? They are a celebration of love. There's even a cute dog at this one. You're making new memories, espousing feelings of love, sharing time with the people you cherish, and wait a second, smashing cake into the love of your life's face after they spent hours getting ready and years dreaming of this day. Hang on a second, this is from the movie Anyone But You. But art imitates life. Yet in all of my research for this video, I have not come across one lesbian couple that's doing this to each other. It's actually only the straights I've seen doing this. Why is it weddings seem to have become a humiliation ritual? Do you even like the person that you're marrying? And you know what? I love a good giggle, I love to chuckle, I love a good joke. We're not talking about a mistake like when this groomsman clearly forgot his belt on the day, or when a rat crashes your wedding. Literally. Or when a hornet gets stuck in your wedding dress like what happened to this poor bride. But my goodness, did the groom save the day or what?
Now that's vows to remember.
Or when a cat crashes a couple's wedding like what happened to this couple, and then they end up adopting the cat, and the cat's name is Daisy. Doesn't your heart feel super happy right now? I know that you're smiling. This is the feeling people should get at weddings. These, well, most of them are happy accidents. We're on about something far more nefarious where the goal is to humiliate. Whether you're like this dude who made the worst vows in history from a few years ago that I'm sure we remember.
Only two things are required to keep me happy. Keep my belly full and my balls empty. So you're amazing at half of it. We really need to get you some cooking lessons.
Do you remember what he said at the beginning of his vows? You're screwed.
You're screwed.
What a wonderful way to begin the rest of your life together. And in her vows, she was constantly putting herself down.
I know I'm no model, by far not a good cook, unless you want soggy meatloaf. And as we all know, I'm the real sleeping beauty with a temper. But thank you for loving me still.
After this disaster, are they still together? Well, not only are they still together, as of 2023, when the latest update was, she even made this video addressing people's concerns, saying,
Michael is too good for me. I will say that I said that then, before or when I met him. I say that now. I will say that to the day I die.
I just want to give her the biggest hug. Please notice that she's the one who made the video defending him. He hasn't had to say anything. He hasn't had to apologize. He hasn't had to explain himself. She's defending him. This is meant to be the best day of your life? Even in this year of 2025, there is instance after instance of humiliation ritual that's happening typically towards the bride at weddings. Why is this still so pervasive? Now, some of you may be saying, well, the whole concept of marriage is a humiliation ritual, weddings are just part of that, and you may be completely against weddings, completely against marriage, and ooh, that's a topic for a future video. Maybe I'll make it for next wedding season. I mean, I already have the get-up. Even if we push those feelings aside, we know that someone's wedding day is meant to be the best day of your life. And for girls in particular, we're kind of brought up thinking of this day, dreaming of it, but time and again on this most special day, which is meant to be about the bride, it ends up humiliating her. And sometimes, actually, most often, it's the groom doing it. My patrons voted for this topic because I've been covering some very heavy things recently, and so we're having something a bit more fun. However, there is a very sinister underbelly to this, and I also have to put resources for you down below in case you need them, because, hey, apparently we can't have anything nice. I am no master baker, but I'm going to be making some cupcakes inspired by the flavors of our wedding cake, because there is no way I could do this gorgeous petal cake, because, wow.
Now, where were we? Ah, yes. Abject humiliation.
So what are the origins of the wedding cake smash? Apparently this is connected to ancient Rome, when barley cake used to get crumbled over the bride's head to signify fertility, wishing for lots of good children, and male dominance. It's almost like we haven't progressed very far, hey? Feeding each other cake is meant to be one of the first acts of service you do as a married couple. You know, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health. This is the one person in the world you're meant to be able to rely on for everything. Even though we know that you can't rely on one person for everything, we require community to be able to thrive. Yes, everybody should be participating in community. But like, they're the person you come home to every day. They're the one that looks after you when you're sick. They are your emergency contact. You can just tell this dude's not going to remember their wedding anniversary or important dates like her birthday and get her a gift or anything like that, hey? They'll be like, what? What did I do? I didn't do anything. Maybe that's the point. This dude had me going for a while. Okay, I was like getting palpitations, I was nervous, but look how cute this is. And guess what? They've been together for 7 years. This is what it's meant to be about. You're in a vulnerable moment, having someone else feed you, someone else do like one of the basic life things for you, and it's meant to be a sweet moment like this. There is actually a Mexican tradition called La Mordida, where the birthday person, they are blowing out their candles, then afterwards they're meant to take the first bite of the cake, and then someone is meant to push their head into the cake. So it's meant to be a gentle one, but sometimes people will go pretty hard. However, not everybody does this. And a big heads up in case you've never dealt with a tiered level cake or a fancy cake at all, they usually have like wooden dowels in them or sticks to be able to keep the structural integrity in place. So there have been accidents where people who have had their faces shoved into the cake, they end up in ER like this poor woman because the dowel went into her eye. Yes, I'm not going to show you the really gory picture, I'll only show you the thing patched up, but she's lucky to still have 2 eyes. Some cakes are even having to come with a warning now about please do not do a cake smash with this cake. It's actually rare to find a bride doing this to her new husband where she crosses a boundary and does something that he doesn't want to at all. I did find one, and he hits her in retaliation. Dude is so angry, like you can feel it radiating off the screen. And in this one, he cake smashes her, and so she smushes some on his cheek, and look what he does. He goes into literally do an overhead punch to her and has to get pulled back by his friends. You can't go telling me this is just a lighthearted joke when men go reacting this way with such huge anger. They know that this is about humiliation. And no, I don't think it's cool if a woman goes and oversteps her partner's boundaries. Like, no. No. This is not cake smashing, quote, done right at all. Like, it's very clear that she did not want it. There is video after video of grooms trying to make their brides look like Mrs. Doubtfire suddenly and humiliate them on the most special day of their lives. And it's also really important to note that this is a day where women spend a lot of money on their hair and makeup, and they're meant to be the most beautiful. Like, everything about this day is meant to be catalogued, and these are the photos and memories that you're meant to frame and cherish forever. Because it's all downhill from here when it comes to marriage, because most of marriage benefits men, actually. Future video though, future video. This dude actually makes her bleed after shoving a whole cake in her face whilst he's still got the knife that he cut the cake with. All he says, even after discovering that he stabbed his new bride, is, "Oh, I'm in trouble." This video is 12 years old and we're still seeing this happen time and again today. And you know what? She left him the day after this wedding happened. I can't imagine why. The way that the cake smash is meant to go is that the groom smashes the cake into the bride's face and she just sort of takes it, you know. She's meant to be passive about it, she's meant to joke along and just accept the humiliation. It's downright cruel, and you can actually see it from the reactions of the people doing the smashing. They are defiant, they are jubilant, I win, you are beneath me. It's kind of the same energy as Jake Paul smashing up Logan Paul's wedding cake. What a weird thing to do, like why? All the way back in 2022, do you remember this cake smash happening? Where the bride is literally running away from her husband as he heads towards her with cake in his fist. She begs and pleads with him not to do it. He pushes her down and shoves cake in her face repeatedly. The woman is defenseless and on the floor. What are you doing? This dude pushes her down, shoves cake all over her face, like making really sure to get it everywhere. And then he runs away. Dude doesn't even help his bride get up off the floor. Love of your life, huh? This one just happened. So they cut the cake and she's all excited. It's all lovely because, you know, it's the wedding day. But then he grabs the back of her neck and head and shoves her. But she is pushing back against him. You can see her pushing. And he uses force to shove her head into the cake, then going off to do his jerk celebration. I think a lot of us can relate to her where you're trying to joke something off when you're actually feeling terrible about yourself, but you don't want to seem like a heinous bitch. She's looking aghast at her husband whilst he's celebrating, ruining her hair and makeup. Dude reacted like he painted the Sistine Chapel or something. You should not feel proud of yourself right now. And you can see it across her face. She thinks about doing the cake smash back to him, but oh no, he anticipates this and stops her before she can by doing a double high five, making sure that he is the one still in control of the situation, making sure that she does not fight back. He wins always. You're meant to go along with the joke and be the good wife, the cool girl, you know? These actions let it be known that your boundaries mean nothing. It's his way, and that's how your entire marriage is gonna go. Like this bride, they cut the cake to serve up and he grabs it and shoves it in her face. She's smiling, but you can see she didn't want it. We are trained to minimize, to not cause a scene. This is otherwise known as the the fawn response. You are probably familiar with fight, flight, or freeze when it comes to being in a scary or dangerous situation. But fawn is where the victim is trying to placate the abuser. You're trying to appease or calm them to not make them any more angry, to not make them any more violent. It can show as people-pleasing, suppressing anger or discomfort, being overly agreeable, ignoring your needs and doing what the other wants. Basically, it's like befriending the beast to stop them from killing you. And there's probably a number of you who are recognizing this in yourself. And when it comes to women, we are more likely to use the fawn response. This is due to how we're socialized from childhood. As Mendable Psychology writes, while fawning can affect anyone, women more often display this trauma response due to societal conditioning and expectations. Many women are raised to be nurturing, accommodating, and agreeable. Assertiveness, especially when it involves saying no or setting boundaries, is often discouraged or punished. Women are more at risk for interpersonal trauma experiences such as relationship violence and sexual violence that often lead to a fawn response. When women are faced with a threat, they may be aware that their ability to fight or flight, safely exit the situation, are not viable options. And you can really see this on display when you're looking at these videos, right? You know, like when someone's smiling or saying thank you to unwanted advances, that's fawning in action, because sadly, there are some men who really cannot handle rejection and can get quite violent, as sadly the news has shown us. But, and this is important, there is no consent when fear is in the room. I want everybody to remember that. And once again here, they're going to feed each other. She does the cake smash in a small way by pushing the fork to his mouth. And he responds by not only smashing it in her face before the first dance, but he just keeps on going, even crumbling cake over her at the end, showing he is the boss. He is the alpha. He won because he humiliated her more. Or one not even involving cake is captured by photographer Imad Joe. This groom was holding his bride over a pool to be able to get some great photos. And he dumps her in, but what's he doing? He's laughing, he's cheering. Dude looks like he just scored a hat trick. She, however, does not look happy. Oh, but Bryony, it's okay because he jumps in afterwards. So he got soggy too. Yeah, he chose to drop her in the pool and then he chose to jump in afterwards. She did not have any choice here. No, it's not the same. Just by the way, there is so much fabric involved in wedding dresses, like they're very complicated garments, and him chucking her in the pool like this, she could have easily drowned because she may not have been able to like kick her legs because that was quite a tight fitting mermaid skirt that she was wearing. What a jerk. But there's another video of them that you may not have seen. This is clearly after she's been dumped in the pool beforehand, because he wants to do a what? What's it you gonna say?
This is Sparta!
And he kicks her in again. So it looks like they're both in on the joke this time, right? So it's totally fine. This comment, I translated it. It says, I want to talk to the bride alone. Same, okay? Because when it comes to these pranks, he's always doing it to her. Because say, for example, if she did the whole this is Sparta thing and kicked him in, then it's like, oh, they're just one of those prank couples. But no, she's always the butt of the joke. Power is always with him. And when you're always the butt of the joke, that means that you are the joke. It's not something that you're both in on, it's them repeatedly showing who's holding the power, and you've been trained to laugh along at your own expense, your own humiliation. And I just gotta ask the dudes that do this, how does it feel to be the smallest man in the world? Because it gives the same energy as Trump at his inauguration cake, where he's using a sword and he's having a little dance because he has to have everybody absolutely adore him at all times. Constant validation is needed. Yeah, I'm in power. I'm the great guy. Weddings take so much planning. Do not even get me started on my spreadsheets or my color coordinated spreadsheet of the day of who's meant to be where at what time. Pranks throw the system out of order. You don't account for having to redo your entire hair and makeup. When you're in the wedding planning process, you talk about things, right? Like you would surely, with your future partner that you're going to be spending the rest of your life with, you would absolutely be showing them images that you really like for the wedding. You talk about the songs that you want. You talk about like everything that you want for the day. And so you would be looking at what other people have done for their weddings. Wouldn't you have also shown them like the cake smash or pranks at weddings and seen what their reaction is? Do they enjoy having pranks at home? Do you both enjoy that? Or is it just you pulling pranks on them and then they have to go along with it? In the same way that you have conversations about wedding traditions that you want to include or exclude, like my God, we left so many wedding traditions out. I walked my damn self down the aisle because I'm not property that is being given away. Same as I didn't wear a wedding veil, I bought this just for this video. Neither of us had any interest in the cake smash either because it's just an embarrassing thing. Like, you're spending your lives together, supposedly. Like, if you can't talk about boundaries or things that you want to have at your wedding day or not and respect those, how the hell are you going to handle the big things in life? Why can't people take a joke anymore? Ugh. Laura Moratore, an accredited psychosexual therapist from Melbourne, said, "Embarrassing any human being is bullying. It's derogatory in nature, and this is not acceptable in any relationship. There's a difference between humour and jest, but there's no place for degradation ever between couples. The trend suggests men are trying to reassert their power to some degree, or perhaps maybe they feel like their masculinity is at stake." Melbourne psychologist Carly Dober said, "Unless this has been specifically spoken about beforehand and she's given her consent to be in on the joke, this behaviour is disrespectful and alarming." And to me, right, it's like, if you are comfortable doing this in public on the most photographed and filmed day of your entire life with everybody that you love and respect around you, what the hell are you doing behind closed doors? Carly Lewis wrote in this piece for The Cut, where a bride called Mila, name change for privacy, her husband snatched a handful of cake, shoving his palm from the bottom of her chin to her forehead. In shock, with cake stuck to her eyelashes and up her nose, she tried to back away. He held her by her neck, thrashing another mound into her face. "It was humiliating," she remembers now, "and it hurt. He cracked my nose hard enough I thought it was bleeding." Mila retreated to the bathroom with friends. "The worst part was that he was cackling with his buddies. He thought it was hilarious," she says. "He saw it as a prank, but to her it felt disrespectful and violating. Do you have some kind of aggression towards me? Is that your moment to spill it out to me?" A little frosting on the cheek wouldn't have bothered her, but this seemed more about dominance than ritual or tradition. And that's how it feels in these videos, right? Like, a little smoosh, a little dab, like, that's playful. Like, you can actually try and laugh that off. But what's happening so often is violence. We're seeing people chasing their loved one, pinning them down, smashing food all over someone's face and hair. That's not how you treat someone you love. I mean, unless you're children and siblings, because you haven't developed empathy yet. Like this couple who were doing the cake smash, she smooshes a little bit into his face, and you'd expect the same back, right? But no, he escalates it. He hurls the whole 3-tiered cake at her. You can't go telling me this is a mutual, fun, light-hearted prank when it turns out like this so often. And look, if there wasn't cake involved and we saw this sort of behaviour, we'd be calling it what it was, IPV. Clinical psychologist Michael Brunstein said in this piece from The Cut, "There's some smoke here." He says the behaviour might reflect on an unconscious fear that marriage leads to a loss of self. It's a way of saying, "I'm not controlled, I just did this whole act of submission, getting on my knees, please marry me, please love me." There's pleasure in saying, "I'm still a man and still dominant." I mean, he has to feel like a man. Why does being a man always come back to being dominant over others? Why does it mean trampling over someone's boundaries? Like, why does it mean public humiliation? And why does it mean violence? We know the answer to this. This is because of toxic masculinity. And people don't like it when I say that. I don't care. I'm using the real term. We see the effects of this constantly in the news and this level of misogyny towards women. Globally, 1 in 3 women have been subject to either physical and/or IPV or non-partner violence in their lifetime. And this study from Australia, which came out just a couple of months ago, showed 1 in 3 men admitted to IPV. It's so normalized in our culture that people still feel comfortable making IPV jokes. Like, people are like, "Oh, well, they got cancelled for it." No, Matt Rife just did that campaign with Elf Cosmetics, which I am fuming about because I use their products all the time. When he got called out for making IPV jokes, this was his response. You can't go telling me that people's opportunities disappear when they're misogynistic and violent, because they don't. Yes, I am super angry that Matt Rife was in that advert, and no, this is not an apology. The issue is that when women say that they feel unsafe in their relationships or that they've got issues in them and they're just like, "Is this okay?" They have family members and friends minimize it, saying, "Oh, it was just a joke. Don't be so emotional. You're overreacting. He was having a laugh. It's not a big deal. He said sorry." All of this plays a big part in the normalization of abuse. To which my response is very much like Summer.
I've come to atone for my sins. I had dinner with him last month. He's really not a bad guy for being a total pig.
Does it signify divorce? You know how much I love to reference studies, but sadly there hasn't really been the funding to find out if people have had the cake smash against their will at their wedding, and the divorce rates from that compared to people who haven't had cake smashes against their will at their wedding. But I am a trash panda, and I love to trawl through the garbage can of the internet, which is Reddit. There's plenty of trash there, which is my treasure, okay? And from what people have shared, the people that do the cake smash against someone's will, those relationships often end in divorce. I repeatedly begged my ex-husband not to do it too, and not only did he do it, he pushed my face so hard that he busted my lip, injured my neck because of how hard my head jerked back. I quote laughed it off at the time, but notice I said ex-husband. And this year someone shared on Reddit that another cake smashing had ended in yet another divorce. The original post got deleted, but brides.com actually documented it. Cake time. Groom has a forkful, goes up to feed it to his bride, but drags his hand upwards to spear the cake on, I guess, her cheek. The fork tines end up cutting her upper lip a little. And there's this weird 5 minutes where they're holding the fancy table napkin against her face to stop the bleeding. I still remember the look my wife gave me, with a shocked, what the fuck was he thinking? They made it 10 or 11 months. Someone told me the divorce rate is higher when people smash cake in each other's faces. Seems there's a bit of truth to this. And the original poster noted that this was the 3rd or 4th wedding he's attended with a cake smash, and those all ended in divorce too. This person's story is pretty famous on Reddit, but they grew up having cake smashes done by their family, and they never wanted it from their family, including a time when they were 17 years old. They'd paid to have their hair and makeup done, they felt great, and they literally begged and pleaded with their mum, please do not do the cake smash. But not only did they do it, but they sliced her face open because of the decorations on the cake. And so she ran to her room and wouldn't come out for the rest of the night, and her mother, still to this day, calls her a brat for that. She told her future husband very explicitly, I do not want the cake smash, saying, I told him if he ever did something like that to me, I'd leave him. He started laughing, but I was being for real. On the wedding day, he smashes cake all over her face. He's just laughing at me, and then he says, you should see your face, and continues to laugh. Other people in the crowd, mostly my family, is also laughing at me. She turns and leaves the wedding, orders an Uber, gets in the car and goes. Her new husband didn't think that she would get so, quote, emotional. This was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives, and he embarrassed me in front of everyone for some prank that he knew I hated. And he responds, why should I have to apologize because you can't take a joke? And he tried to use her family as a reason for him doing it, saying like he wanted to be accepted by them, even though he knows her. He knows that this is something which has affected her deeply and she never wanted it to happen. And her family were calling her, quote, dramatic. But we know this was a very clear boundary that was crossed, not only first by her family, but then by her future husband. And by the way, he made her invite her mother to the wedding because she did not want to invite her to begin with. So if we're on about like, oh, I wanted to impress your family, she didn't even want them there, bro. And by the way, she did leave him. The cake incident made her actually realize all of the other abusive things that he had been doing throughout their relationship. But it was because of her upbringing that she didn't realize it. There are just so many more people who have shared similar stories all over the internet. The cake smash or other public prank at their expense, it was all other ways that the abuse was being shown. It's just, oh, this one's done in public, so it makes me pay attention to it more. Basically, the cake smash is a symptom of a far bigger problem of an abusive relationship. As domestic shelters will tell you, abusive relationships, they're not all the same. It shows in various different ways, but escalation is absolutely an issue. Abuse may start out as verbal put-downs. They test your boundaries by going against something that you said. Like, for example, you say you don't want to do a cake smash and they do it anyway. But then they'll tell you off for overreacting. It's just a joke. But then they continue to go against your boundaries, and then maybe the verbal insults just keep on getting worse. And then maybe becoming controlling of how you look. No wife of mine's gonna leave the house looking like that. And maybe even controlling your relationships. Why do you need to see your family? I'm all that you need. And it can escalate to financial control. And I need this to be said for everybody to understand, even way at the back if you're not paying attention to me. Even if abuse doesn't become physical, that still is abuse. Or there could be sudden escalation. A partner may go from emotional abuse to physical abuse overnight. What happens with a lot of victims is that fawning response that we talked about earlier. You know, you're trying to blame yourself. You're like, oh, I'm paying attention. I don't want to set them off again. You know, you don't want to, quote, make them do something. You know, it's like, look what you made me do. So instead they tolerate it. But the risk is that by tolerating it and with the escalation happening, things will get worse and worse and it will be too dangerous to leave. Trying Trying to prevent this escalation from happening is a bit like trying to stop a moving train. Something is already in motion. You trying to stop it is not actually going to do anything. It's just going to get you hurt. It's really important that someone in an abusive situation gets out before it gets worse, before it's too late. It takes an average of 7 attempts for someone to leave an abusive relationship. And I really want you to know that you can always contact a helpline to ask, like, is this okay? What they're doing, is this okay? Like, I'm quite worried this and this and this has happened. And I really want you to all document everything that happens as well, okay? Because I know that this is only going to apply to a few people. The more documentation you have, the better. And being in contact with those resources, which like I said, I've got for you down below, then you can have a safety plan for a way out.
I love you and I like you.
I love you and I like you.
Given how much women's rights are being stripped away, how people are openly saying that they don't want women to be able to vote anymore, how bodily autonomy keeps on getting stripped away, how much of a push there is for women to marry when they're really young and pop out as many kids as possible, at the same time as mothers especially leaving the workforce, I just keep on putting all of this together and it makes me a bit nervous. The bigger picture is painting something which is quite scary, and when you see this trend is still continuing to grow, still happening every single year, it speaks to a larger issue in our cultural zeitgeist, one of misogyny and for want of full control of women. Where even on the most special day of your life, you are not safe, even with the person who is meant to be there to protect you, to love you the most out of everybody else in the world. You aren't even granted one day where your partner respects you. And don't go expecting any better, because it's all downhill from here, because you got your special day, so you're going to pay for it for the rest of your life. I need to lift the mood back up, don't I, because it got a bit dark. Well, luckily, if you want to do something funny at your wedding, you can be like this absolute charmer of a dude. You can pretend like you're going to do something, you can have your funny moment, but notice the maturity? He laughs and embraces his wife instead. It's almost like he likes her? What a novel concept. Or like Samantha Cito here, like they feed each other and they have great fun. It is so cute to watch. Gorgeous petal cake, by the way. She's got good taste. I love seeing people in happy relationships, so I wanted to sprinkle some of those in as well, because it's not all doom and gloom, it's not all bad. I'm absolutely a sucker for weddings. I'm literally like this all the time.
Tired of not being married to this woman.
Do you, Ron Swanson, take Diane to be your wife?
I certainly do.
And do you, Diane, take...
Yes, I do.
She said yes! Okay. And if your mood isn't lifted anymore, may I remind you of this cute cat that they rescued at their wedding. The cat's called Daisy. Go follow their TikTok if you want. You'll get some wholesome content there. Like, expressions of love don't have to be big or extravagant or fancy or anything. On one of my walks, I found where Brandon's favorite bird, Tui's, was snacking on some beautiful spring blossoms because, you know, they're drinking the nectar. And so I took Brandon there when we went for a walk on the weekend, you know, stuff like that. And when he goes to sight, if he sees like some cute ducklings or bunnies or something, he takes pictures and sends them to me. You know, it's that cute stuff of like, oh, I know you love this stuff, so it made me think of you, and so I sent it to you. I wanted to brighten your day. It's like, it's all that cute stuff. You know, how hard is it? That's the sort of stuff that a relationship should be about, you know, mutual respect, mutual trust, and building something together. You know, you lift each other up. That way you can weather any storm. Anyway, thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. I'd love to hear any happy love stories that you have down below, or I don't know, or whatever one of these emojis you like the most. I don't know. Thank you so much to my patrons for voting for this topic, and an extra special thank you to my top tier Trash Panda enablers: Birgit, Carrie Quake, Danielle, Amberly McCulley, Jamisa Brown, Jeff Boyardee, Katrina Dunn, Cole, Laura Bell, Maxie, Mayanaka Midnighter, Megan Connolly, Mila Gauthier, Nathan, Nicole H, Ryder, Spooky Jade, Tammy Poitras, Tonya Beignet, Veru Catmama, Zofima. Let's try one of these cupcakes because I want to see if it worked out well. Oh my god. Also, I'm sorry, but people are wasting like expensive cake. Wedding cakes are super expensive and they taste so good. Why would you waste the cake? This is really delicious. Probably got chocolate everywhere. I don't care, but yeah. The recipe is linked for you down below. I don't make this up myself, but yum. Oh my gosh, I'm like Monica in Friends, that episode where she's cleaning the house in the wedding gown. Yeah, that's kind of me.
You know, I gotta tell you, this really does put me in a better mood.